Just tease me, baby. You got what I want and what I need, baby.
Let me hear you say,
please.
Let me hear you say,
please. Tease me, baby. Turn around and just tease me, baby. You got what I want and what I need, baby.
Let me hear you say, Let me hear you say.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Chris Clark Show. Listen, y'all, what's up? Want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast. This is episode 3 for the Chris Clark Show. We growing. Today's episode, we want to talk about millennial marriages. Ooh. Yes. And I know you hear that lovely, sexy voice going on behind me. And I thought it would be very appropriate to talk about millennial marriages, with nobody better than my lovely wife.
Hey guys.
Brittni Clark.
I made it onto the podcast.
She made the podcast. I was
I'm here.
Trying to hold on as long as I can, but she
you gotta give the people what they want, babe.
She pressured me. Nobody asked for it, so
Shut up.
So yeah, we're gonna make it do what it do. We're gonna talk about millennial marriages and the ins and outs, the pros, the cons about it. It's compared it to the older generation marriages and, what's different, what we doing different,
right,
and how are we making it work. We're not marriage counselors, far from it.
Nope.
We have our own problems, but we have better good days than bad days. Yep. And we are 10 years in on marriage, and we've been together coming up on 16 years.
16 years.
16
oh my God,
years.
that sounds so.
Yes, we
16 years.
We have 3, beautiful children, Faith, Christopher Jr., and Isaiah. Notice I said that with a sigh. Isaiah. Yes, the baby boy. Brittni, how are you, my love?
Good. How are you, babe?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm great to have you on my podcast show, the Chris Clark Show. It's been a long time coming. And we're just gonna sit here and talk about some stuff, but want to give gotta give a shout out to our sponsors. First, our first sponsor, Chris Clark Entertainment.
Yay!
My company is definitely sponsoring this show, and we've got a couple events coming up. The next big Chris Clark Entertainment event is coming March 16th of this year in Violin, New Jersey. I put together a dinner theater show, and man, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a comedy. It's called I Called the Old. Tickets are $25. I would say you can pay at the door, but I really think it's going to be sold out. Almost half the tickets are sold already, and we're still about 3.5 weeks out. People are very excited about this project, but tickets are $25 and they're actually $30 at the door. You can contact me at chris@chrisclarkproductions.com, or go to the website chrisclarkproductions.com, and you can purchase your tickets online. And the next project we got coming up, save the date, on April 26th. That's a Friday night. We have my man from Greenville, North Carolina, Mr. Tim Shropshire. I'm gonna try to get him on the podcast soon before he get here. Very funny guy, man. This is my dude. He's an internet sensation. If you on social media, you definitely know who Tim Shropshire is. If not, look him up, because the band, he's a bad boy. And, he's coming to Violin, New Jersey on April 26th. Gotta also give a quick shout out to Pastor Gary Cornish and In His Presence Worship Center, another sponsorship. They have a big event coming up on Saturday, March 23rd, called the Next Level Gospel Comedy Show with your headliner. She's a great friend of mine. She has been on NBC's Last Comic Standing, Miss Nikki Carr, also Barry Ribbs from Brooklyn, New York, my man Nate the Landlord from Philly, and also hosted by Philly's own Mr. Hez Green, another good friend of mine. Tickets are $20. It's going to be at the Landis Theater in Vineland, New Jersey. You can go to landistheater.com, or you can call Mr. Gary Cornish at 856-265-4741. That's the Next Level comedy show featuring from New York, Miss Nikki Carr. That show's gonna be awesome. I wish I was on it, but I got a prior engagement. So go support, It's for a small fee. You can get your laugh on. So again, this show is talking about millennial marriages, but before me and my wife go at it, before we start talking about
the gloves are coming off.
Yeah, what we feel on different topics about millennial marriages, we got to hear from my pastor, Pastor Leroy Love Offering. He got a new one, y'all. It's called the Daniel Fast. Check it out.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I am Pastor Leroy Love Offering, and this is my 2-minute sermon. Can I shout about it? Well, y'all, I know y'all been wondering where Pastor Love Offering been at. Well, I've been overseas, over in Europe and Australia and Russia. I've been starting up some Shacking Up Baptist churches over there. So we are now Shacking Up International Baptist Church. Huh? Can I shout about it? I tell you, we're international. But what I want to talk to y'all today is, when I came back home to the States, one of my members approached me. He said a couple of his friends that attend other churches are now doing this Daniel fast. And he said, Pastor Love Offering, why we don't do Daniel fast at our church, at Shacking Up? I said, 'cause it ain't biblical. Huh? I said, it ain't biblical. God ain't never instructed us to do the Daniel fast. Huh? Can I shout about it? It's called Daniel fast for a reason, 'cause it was for Daniel. Huh? Can I shout about it? You can't be out here doing somebody else's fast. That's his fast. Huh? You want what Daniel want? Huh? You telling God that he can provide for you? Huh? That he got to give you what somebody else want? That fast was for Daniel. Huh? I ain't about to sit up here and eat no vegetables and drink water. No, I like meat. Huh? Can I shout about it? So all y'all churches out there doing this Daniel fast, you're sinning. Huh? 'Cause you're out the will of God. God ain't never instructed us to do this Daniel fast. Huh? He told Daniel. Huh? Can I shout about it? Now I'm Pastor Leroy Love Offering, and this is my 2-minute sermon. Can I shout about it?
Pastor Love Offering with the Daniel Fast. Can I shout about it?
Pastor needs his head checked.
So we're here with the lovely Miss Brittni Clark. She is a teacher. She's a wonderful wife of one.
Aww.
A mother of one husband. She's a mother of three children, and today she is my co-host. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my lovely wife, Miss Brittni Clark. Here we go. Miss Brittni Clark, how you doing?
Good.
You good? Oh, that was my little applause. Sorry, I messed up. There we go. Oh.
Got the sound effects going.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it going. I'm getting it together.
Let's talk about this, babe.
Millennial
Marriages.
Millennial Marriages. So what we got? What we talking about?
So, for those that don't know what millennial is, or what age group or millennials are, if you are a millennial, from what I researched, if you were born between 1980s to 2000, congratulations, you are considered a millennial.
Congratulations.
So tonight we're going to talk about the struggles and issues and the differences between the older generation and our generation, millennials.
Okay.
Okay.
So what do you think the biggest difference between millennial marriages and, let's say, the baby boom years? That's like what, 1950s? Because there's a big difference between that.
Now that social media is a big part of relationships and our lifestyles, I mean, that is a major factor in a lot of relationships, because that wasn't around, when our moms and grandparents were getting married and starting relationships. Why do you think, my question to you is, why do you think they're not lasting?
So you just gonna ask me a question on my show? Okay. I don't know. It's a lot of reasons why I think they're not lasting, because I think one reason is I think they take marriage lightly compared to back in the day. Family actually meant something. Loyalty actually meant something. The vows that you take, for better or worse, actually meant something. I think I think it's sort of a trend going on. Like, people like the idea of being married, but they don't like, to put the work in. And I think once they realize that how hard it is to stay together, because it's very easy to get together, but to stay together, you have to put that work in, and they're not up for the challenge. So, people like proposals, people love weddings, but the real marriage starts after the ceremony.
Right. So
I feel like, one reason is, they're not up for the challenge.
I know for some of your listeners, they probably already know a little bit about our love story, I like to call it, about our
For the ones that don't know, let them know about the love story. Keep it PG. Keep it PG. And be honest.
This is my favorite love story because it's ours. We are high school sweethearts. We got married young. Oh, my goodness.
I wasn't that young.
We were babies.
I was 24.
We were babies.
I wasn't that young.
Chris
24 and sexy, too.
Chris was 24. I was 23. Trying to figure out motherhood and be a wife at the same time was challenging. I think every day I felt like I was failing.
Oh, he was doing a great job. Stop it. Stop it.
But the one thing that I get complimented on a lot, or statements made, is, oh my God, you guys have been together for how long? And how old are you? And you guys are so young. And I know with now social media, we see our friends that got married before us, and the same time we got married, and after us. And I remember questioning you and saying to you, why are they not lasting? So that's why we came up with tonight's topic, Millennial Marriages. I came up with a few reasons why I think they're not lasting. And one is the inability to communicate about conflict. The reason why I bring this one up is because I know with us being so young when we got married, I think that's something we learned to grow from, is our communication, because our communication was not the best. So I will be the first to admit.
It wasn't there.
Exactly. It wasn't there at all. So being young, you're still thinking young, even though you're married. You don't realize the importance of talking to your spouse or your significant other and communicating back and forth, literally how you're feeling, what's going on in your life, because even though we lived together, we were like passing ships sometimes. Like, your comedy was taking off. I was a new mom with the babies at home, and you were working, and at one point I was a stay-at-home mom, like when CJ was a baby for, I think it was a year. So
I want to talk about that too, about because a lot of people don't know the story and the struggles we went through, because we went through a lot of stuff. And I know one of the things was the beginning of my comedy career was something that, not saying you wasn't on board, but you thought that I should be doing something different because, we had faith at the time.
Right. And that's actually, before you continue with that, when I was doing my research on millennial marriages and reasons why they don't last is different goals. And I think that is for us at that point in our lives, we had different goals for ourselves and for each other. And now you can go ahead.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
The floor is yours.
No, well, at the time, I was still kind of finding myself. I really didn't know what I wanted to do or be in life. I knew I loved it. I got a taste of the acting business. I was in different stage productions. And so I knew I wanted to be on stage. So by the time I started doing stand-up, it was 2006. And, we already had a baby. We wasn't married, but we already had a baby. So it was something that I tried. I liked it. I actually, won the competition the first time that I tried stand up, and something that I brought to the table. And I think at the time you thought it was just going to be just something to do, like a hobby.
A hobby, yeah.
Not thinking that I would take it serious. And then, fast forward to 2007, when I got the opportunity to become a correction officer, going to the boot camp. I know you and several other people got upset because I actually quit the boot camp because, we was allowed to come home on the weekend. And I remember the particular weekend I came home and I had a show in Philadelphia at the convention center. And I tell this story a lot that I had an outer body experience when I was on stage because I really, receiving all the laughs and stuff like that, I said to myself, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right. And
I went that Monday morning when we had to, report back to camp, and I quit. I told them, wasn't going to do it. They was very upset because, I'm a big guy, big muscular guy, and they wanted people with my body type and mind frame.
I remember you called
to
me
do that.
to tell me.
I was.
I remember that.
Yeah, because
morning.
it was a stressful decision because on one hand I wanted to follow my heart because this is what I felt like this was my destiny.
Right.
What I was supposed to be doing. On the other hand, I knew I had a baby. I knew, I had a girlfriend that was going to become my wife, and then I had my mom and a couple other people on my back about being a provider, but I felt that there was another way to become a provider than becoming a correction officer.
Okay.
And it's nothing against correction officer. I mean, that's your job, then, that's for you. But it wasn't something that I seen in my path, in my life. And I wanted to be in the entertainment business. Mm-hmm. And I remember praying to God saying, Lord, if this is what I want to do, basically, let your will be in line with what I want to do. And I dedicated and from there I dedicated my comedy to God because I told him, if you allow me to succeed in this, I'll serve you in my goal, in my comedy. And from that day forward, that's when I basically, was doing gospel comedy. And here I am 12 years later, going on 13.
Gospel award-winning comedian.
Gospel, yeah, got many awards, which it kind of led me to
playwright.
Becoming a playwright, director, winning awards and stuff like that. And comedy kind of saved our family a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
When things got bad,
yeah.
Bills piled up,
Yeah.
and we didn't see where money was coming.
Right.
We was the type of people, we didn't like borrowing money.
Right.
It had to be the last second,
Right.
before anything got cut off. And out of nowhere, God would just send somebody my way and allow me to make money to take care of my family with comedy.
Right.
So it's definitely, it hasn't been an easy road, but it's definitely been rewarding, and
it's been worth it.
Yeah, it's been definitely worth it. So I know that with that, millennial marriages and then now, like you said, we had different goals for one another, but you also got, I had goals for myself and I had goals for my family. Like, I wanted to become a successful comedian. Not saying playwriting and all that in my future, but at the time I wanted to be a successful comedian and I wanted to provide for my family. And I think God allowed me to do that, but I had to get you to be on board because.
And that was hard because I remember the day, before you even, like, for me, let's back it up, because I remember the list. Like, we were at your mom's house and you had the list, remember, of all the things you needed for boot camp. And I remember, do you remember going to get, like, the combat boots and
I think I still got them.
Getting all your gear together. And I remember, like, Faithy crawling over everything because she was, little at the time. But I also remember being sad because you were going away, but just like thinking like this is going to be great for us and our family, because I'm the type to think about the future. And I remember you calling me. I was on my way to work. I had just dropped Faith off to your mom's and I was going to work, and you called me and it sounded like you were in the car. And I was like, what are you doing? Where are you? And you told me that you quit boot camp, and I just, at that time, I don't know if it was just because I was also young and also one-minded, just thinking of one thing, and that one thing only was faith and stability and security, and not thinking about your safety. And it took you actually breaking it down to me of all of the things that correction officers go through on a daily basis. And it's funny because I thank God for the people that He's placed in our lives throughout our marriage that are totally team Chris and Brittni. Because there's been some people that have come along that have not been team Chris and Britt. And
some people didn't even give us a year.
Yeah.
When we got married, they didn't give us a year.
That's another podcast.
Didn't give us a year.
We still standing. But I remember my brother-in-law venting to him, and I remember him saying to me, would you rather come home to, or have a husband that comes home to you angry and miserable because he's dealing with or going to work every day at a job where he hates, he doesn't like? Or would you rather have a husband that comes home to you and he's happy and is glad to be home and loving? And he put a lot of things into perspective for me. Just with that. I didn't know that. Yeah, just with that comment that he said. That shout out goes to my brother-in-law, CP. Yeah, so from that day on when he said that to me, the wheels just started to turn. I started to take myself out of the situation. It was hard. It definitely was hard because I didn't understand your love for it. Because you understand it now? Oh, definitely. I'm on board. Hit me up for bookings. But it's difficult when, you're young and you have different goals in life, and you want a house and you want a car and you want security. But I think what people fail to realize is, like you said in the beginning, it takes time and it takes work, and things don't happen overnight. And for me, I just wanted it boom, 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 like right now. We're on the wrong path. Like, you're detouring. Let's get back on this path. I want my house. I want my car. I want my family. So it was difficult, but once your love became my love, once you shared your goal with me, I started to realize your passion for it. So, and I'm so happy to this day that you stuck with it, and I'm very, very proud of you. Oh, thank you. What was the sound effect? You're supposed to hit the oh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was supposed to hit it. I was in the moment. Hold on. There we go. It's been a great journey, but back to millennial marriages, I think from that point on between me and you, and we've gone through so much together, and so much that I feel like other couples might have gone through or did go through and caused them to separate or divorce. And for us, when we say we've been through some storms, we've been through some storms. And I remember you put a Facebook post and I laughed at it, and a lot of people laughed at it too, but you said we've been through hurricanes and snowstorms and tornadoes
and
tsunamis. But yeah, he's right. We've been through some hurricanes and tsunamis and earthquakes and everything that you could possibly think of that could separate a man from his wife. I think we've been through it.
Yeah.
And
I think another reason why people don't last, well, millennial marriages don't last, is the immaturity.
Yeah.
A lot of them tend to, I guess, a lot of them want to be married, but single.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
They only want to be married when it's necessary, because, you know, we see people on social media, and, you know, some of them are friends of ours or people we grew up with, that, you know, they're at the club, they're always on guy trips, they're always on girl trips,
right.
And you never really see them with their family or, you know, or couple pictures or whatever like that. Right. Not saying they always got to post stuff about that, because, right. You know, we don't know what goes on inside the house, but it's like, I mean, every other week you out clubbing. I mean, it's like, when does it end? Like, you know, you're a mother, you're a father, you have kids, you know, blah, blah, blah. Cause I mean, I know with me, besides if I'm not on the road or, you know, performing or anything like that, I'm with my family.
Right.
Like, I very rarely go out with the guys. Right. Like, very rarely.
And I push you to go out with the guys. Like,
yeah, you do. You push me, but it's like, I mean, I like my house. I'm paying for it. I want to be here.
But I think that's the same thing with me, because, you know, I get, you know, the girls' dinners and,
which is cool at times.
It is cool, but honestly, and no offense to my gorgeous sister friends who I love so much, they're probably going to be like, don't call her no more. When I'm out, although I love to have that girl talk and just be free. No, mom tugging, or mom, I gotta go to the bathroom, or, you know, just to catch up with my friends. But in the back of my mind, I miss my babies. I miss home. I miss being here. And, I feel like the older we got, the stronger our marriage got, I learned the significant value and the meaning in protect your marriage. And that was part of being careful with who you allowed in and who you vented to, and
we learned that lesson.
The places that, you know, we went to. Like, I remember you getting mad at me one time because I went out, and you made it very clear. You're like, but you're my wife. Like, and I didn't realize that. Like, I didn't think I'm like, you know, you
got to clear that up. You don't want people thinking I just got mad because you went out.
No. Okay. Clarify it.
Huh?
Clarify.
No, you clarify. Like, why did I get upset? I know because I didn't get upset because you went out.
He didn't get upset because I went out. He got upset because of where I went. The place that I went wasn't the wifiest place to be.
Okay.
And the things that were happening around me weren't the wifely things that, you know.
Because I felt like if I was in that situation, you wouldn't have liked it.
Exactly. And I think that's another thing that I feel as though a lot of millennial marriages don't take into consideration, how the other one is feeling. And that's where we go back to communication and talking. Even though we've been together for 16 years and we've been married for 10, me and you, I feel like we've grown tremendously.
I think we're old souls.
Yeah.
Meaning that we, when I say old souls, I mean like we have that foundation. Like,
Well, that's because we
people-
had good people around us, I feel like, to steer us in the right direction. I feel like we had good people who, like I said, who were team Chris and Britt, that we could go to and help guide us. And
I mean,
even today,
we had that, but we had to have the mind frame to do it.
yeah, and even
You know, you can always have help, but it has to be a you thing too.
yeah.
And I think,
and
know,
the wanting, like, did we want to fight for our marriage? Did we
yeah,
want to stay together?
Because it's a lot. I know, in a lot of times, you know, when we had to learn, we actually learned this later in marriage. I want to say recently that, you know, I need my time. Like, we handle
business together.
Yeah, we handle
Children
we handle situations differently. Like, when I'm upset, I like to be by myself to collect my thoughts.
Right.
Like, leave me alone. Let me go collect my thoughts. Let me get myself together. Because when I have my moment, I feel like I'm wrong, I'll come back and I apologize.
Right.
But if you keep nagging me, what's wrong? What's going on? Just whether it's about you or not.
Right.
You know, if you keep getting nagging, eventually you're going to be a part of the problem.
Right.
So I know, you know, we recently learned that. And then, you know, even with you, it's like you're more of a talk it out. I'm more of a keep quiet. I need a moment. You know what I mean? Yeah, and cool off.
Yeah.
So, you know, later in life we had to learn that, but that breaks up a lot of relationships, a lot of marriages, that right there. And I'm grateful that it didn't break us up, and we became open-minded because we got involved in the marriage ministry at church. Shout out to our church, Bethany Baptist Church, Bishop David G. Evans, Lindenwold, New Jersey.
Pastor Waters.
Yeah, Pastor Walter, Pastor John and Shani Walters over the marriage ministry. And, you know, we learned a lot, you know, because it's actually couples there that's older than us, but we've been married longer than them.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's also couples that been married. I think the oldest was like, 40-some years, you know, down to, you know, a few months. And we all learn from each other.
Right.
We all realize we go through things just alike in our marriages and our relationships. And I think it's a very good tool if you could, you know, any millennial marriage or any marriage for that sake, you know, to get involved in something like that, something that's positive can help you.
Right.
And it got us to help meet other couples, especially our age, because we don't have a lot of friends that's our age that's married. They're either single or
on one hand. But that's fine with me because I am a type of quality over quantity, and I've learned that as I've gotten older, with not just materialistic things, but just with relationships when it comes to friendships.
Loyalty means a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's what it is.
And I think for us, we can honestly say we got some loyal people in our corner.
We do. We have our game nights with our selective friends, and
we love you guys. We know you're listening.
We have a good time.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah, you know, we get in our you know, our friends, and you know, we love them, and you know, because before we didn't do that.
Right.
You know, we didn't have, you know, the game nights. We just kind of kept to ourselves. So, I mean, it is nice to get out with other people, especially other couples. And
to know that we are not alone.
Right.
Because,
no doubt about it.
Like what you said, because I remember my first time when we went to a couples link ministry at Bethany, and I'm just sitting there and I'm listening, and I was like, we go do the same thing. And just to hear, you know, you don't want, you know, any hardships on anybody, but just to hear that another person is struggling or going through the same thing that we're going through, it just makes you feel not alone. It just makes you feel like, you know, if they could get through it, then we can get through it. And that's where, you know, I go back to, I'm just thankful, you know, that God has placed amazing people in our lives because,
that's rooting for you.
Yeah. that's rooting for us.
Yeah, like Miss Rhonda. We love Miss Rhonda.
Yes, we love her.
Miss
She
Rhonda
is,
Brown. She's
I don't want to go in too much, but she is definitely heaven sent. She's one
big
of
part of our marriage.
Yeah, she played a huge part in me and Chris's marriage, especially when we were younger.
Yeah. She's like another mom.
She is like she's like another mom to us. She's always given us wisdom, and even if she doesn't say anything, even just with a hug, you know, she's
and
just,
her smile.
And her smile, she's just awesome. She's just really awesome. And from meeting her, it just led us to meet more great people who are who are for us. So I have a question for you.
Okay, question time.
Question time. Enough about us. Okay.
Question time.
What is your thoughts on millennial relationships or millennial marriages and social media actions? And I mean social media actions because when I was doing my research, one of the reasons, number 2, I think it was on the list. Number 3 on the list is jealousy over social media actions causes a huge decline in millennial marriages.
Yeah, well, I think it plays a part because I can see the jealousy because people. I say they take social media too serious.
Okay.
I do.
You think I take social media too seriously?
At times I do. It's call a spade a spade.
Remember,
I think,
gotta go to bed with me tonight.
No, you gotta go to bed with me. I think people. I guess you gotta know your spouse. You gotta know your spouse. Right. For me, it's not that deep. Social media is not that deep for me. Okay. I get on there, I joke around, might post events, share stuff, crack a joke, whatever. You my friend, I see something you wrote or a picture or something, I like it, blah, blah, blah. I don't think twice about it, but in stuff, and I know it happened with us at times. I might like the certain person picture. You might get upset. Oh, you like this chick, or why you liking this, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and I'm looking at you with the confused face and you think I'm putting on, but I'm actually like, what are you talking about? Like most of the time I actually forgot I liked the picture or whatever. And, and it's like, oh, you doing this, and you like, no, it's not that serious. Like, I don't take social media that serious.
Well, before I respond to that, actually what, when I was doing my research, there is a Dr. Laura, can't pronounce her last name, but she is a licensed clinical professional counselor, and she says that it is important not to read too much into your partner's online actions. Unless you...
I didn't even know that, and she just agreed with me.
Unless you have firm reasons to believe they're cheating. Yeah. So then, I guess from that point, you... I guess that's game for you overreacting or getting upset. I know for me, and it was all goes back to, I think everything just stems back to communication with us. Instead of expressing my feelings to you about a certain situation or a certain post or something, right away, I would shut down. I wouldn't talk to you. I'd, get quiet, and then, you're left guessing in the guessing game. And then when I was ready to, I just let it all out. And it wasn't let it out verbally. It was let out in a text message.
Yeah,
so that's
your main source of communication.
So that's where, a lot of it just made things worse, because now I wasn't communicating with you face to face. I was communicating with you via text message, and you're my husband. So, there's things that get lost in translation when you text.
Because you're actually thinking, when you read the text,
I'm thinking faster than I can type. So.
No, I mean, you actually, when someone I don't like text messages, especially on certain communications, because when you text somebody, they have to imagine how you're saying it.
Right. Exactly.
And I think that's where a lot of assumptions take place.
Now, I am going to go back to, you feel as though social media is not, you don't read too deep into it. But you also said on another podcast that men think logically. Is that what you said? Men are logic thinkers. Women are emotional thinkers. I believe that to a certain extent. I think for me, and knowing who the picture that you're liking, it is different. If it's a friend of ours or a mutual friend, which Dr. Laura does say, as if it's someone that we both know mutually, I don't get upset. But if it's somebody that I know just by hearing or being around this person, because as women, and you don't want to believe this, but women, and add a comment to this podcast, you know when somebody likes your man.
No, that's nonsense. That's just
women,
crazy.
we know.
Blasphemous.
Women, we know when another woman likes our husbands, our boyfriends, our man. And I feel as though you are a very genuinely nice person. And when there are desperate women out there and their clocks are ticking, I
don't think I'm that cute, though.
They will, I think they feed into it. To you, it's just a like, but to them, it could be...
I know, but wouldn't that...
To them, it could be like they won the lottery. Chris liked my post. You know what I mean? And that's the one thing that was frustrating to me.
But I get that. But, and I think I said this to you before, what that got to do with me? But it's like that's more of a personal problem for them, because it's like
a personal problem for them or for us.
No, for them.
But it became a problem for us.
It became a problem for us because you will bring it up. Like I said, I don't think nothing of it. So yeah, I'm liking the picture, blah, and they, oh my God, Chris liked my picture, but it's like, that might bring them joy, but to me, I can care less. Like, I probably like the picture and then forget about it. You know, I think that's why a lot of people like talking to me, because I'm like a vault. Like, once you tell me something, it's not coming out. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I forget you told me until you bring it back up. So, but I never understood that. It's like, why is that an issue between me and you?
I think it's just a matter. I think it's a matter of respect also towards me, because and I think that's something that you do now. Like, if you, and I'm not saying that you do this, you know, this is something that, you know, coming from, you know, girl talks and talking to, you know, other friends and listening, you know, about their, you know, them venting in their marriages and just all in general. And it's also been something that I've read. I read something about it too on Facebook too, about guys who like the raunchy pictures, you know, the big booties with the negligee or half naked pictures, to their wives, to women, it's just like, okay, well, we look nothing like that picture. So why are you liking it? So to us, you play on our insecurities, you know, and I think as guys, like you said, you don't see anything wrong with it. But if you know that it is upsetting to your wife or your girlfriend or your significant other, do you think you should stop? Do you think it is an issue?
I mean, because I don't think like something, if you're doing that, I don't think it's worth your relationship if you're in love. I mean, I don't really like raunchy pictures anyway. I mean, sometimes I know a couple times I accidentally hit a picture. I accidentally hit a picture. Don't make me cuss on here tonight. Nah, seriously, I accidentally hit a picture one time and you got upset, and when you was in my face, I'm really like, I really don't know.
Whatever.
I mean, I can put my hand on the Bible.
Double taps on purpose.
I'm looking at you like,
whatever.
it wasn't no double tap.
You
You
gotta
looking like,
tap.
nah. Because you know you can scroll up with your thumb and tap, and I'm really looking at you like, what the heck are you talking about?
Right.
Like, I really didn't know what you were talking about. Then
But this goes to show, you know, I love the comments because if anybody follows me on social media and on Facebook and Instagram, I love my family. I love being married. I love being a wife. I love being a teacher. I love being a mother. So when you look on my Facebook page, you will more than likely be able to tell how much I love my husband, and I love our union, and I love our family and our babies. And yeah.
But you're not gonna finish?
No, I'm just it just goes to show that, you know, I have a lot of people who have inboxed me and who have sent like little sweet messages and just have said stuff about I love your love and for each other, and I love the fact that you guys have been together for so long. And in actuality, it's not. This is where social media, I think people get things misconstrued. Like they see one thing, but you don't realize that it's a lot of work. Like we go through the same thing that anybody else goes through. You know, the insecurities, the what ifs, the miscommunication, you know, we go through it. And I think for us, well, why do you think the reason why we're still standing?
I think we're still standing because we never gave up.
Yeah.
That's just really plain and simple.
Yeah.
We never gave up. We're always learning each other. We're always trying to make each other happy.
Right.
We both are genuinely good people. We're genuinely loving people. You know, we not only, you know, care for each other, but we care for other people. And for us being in love, I think, you know, we try to show it as much as possible. Even, you know, we show it differently. You know, I, you know, with you, I feel like you show your love for your family by cooking, you know, laundry, you know, just making sure, cause there's a lot of stuff you do that I don't think about, like doctor's appointments. If it was up to me, the kids will never be at the dentist or the doctors or anything like that, because it never really crosses my mind. And I think, you know, your interest in your family, shows the way you love. Mine is, providing, protecting, making sure things, are taken care of. Cause, you know, it's a lot of things that go on in this house that I make sure is good that y'all never know about.
Right.
Or never know I did.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes I don't even know things are broken.
Yeah, not saying that to get a pat on the back,
Right.
but I know, like I said earlier, it means that stuff means something to me. Like the old school values mean something to me.
Right.
You know, being a provider, being a protector, being a covering over your family. Like I take that to heart, and I feel like we both have the same type of morals that we learn from our parents, and we try to instill in our children. And, you know, I grew up in a single parent home, you know, my mom and 3 brothers, and I know what it is not to have my father in the house. I don't want to have that for my kids. So that's another reason why I work hard at my marriage, to let my kids know it is possible. Yeah, you might see mommy and daddy argue at times, but mommy and daddy going to get through this. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're grown, you're married, in love, but you still have disagreements, and you still might, you know, just need the time to breathe, and then you come back together and you make it work. You know, I love the fact that our kids can wake up to their mom and dad in bed.
Yeah.
You know, in the same household.
Yeah.
that they can say mom, dad, or not saying, oh, mom and Mr. Chris or Mr. Clark, you know what I mean? Or dad and Miss Brittni or something like that. It's nice to have. And then I know, our kids even look at certain kids, they be like, oh, your mom and dad live together? Like, yeah, don't yours? You know what I mean? Right. So our kids think that's a normal, which I like it, but, I know it's not the real world, but it should be. But, I just think that, our morals is in line. It make us as one. It says the two shall become one. I think even though we have separate goals, I think our one main goal is. And
I think that's what helped for us. I think in the beginning we had two separate goals, which kind of caused a lot of friction between us. And when you saw my passion for my goal.
Because we had different backgrounds too.
Exactly.
We had totally different backgrounds.
That's another podcast.
You had but you grew up with your mom and dad. Yeah. I grew up with just the mom in the house.
We had two different upbringings.
We had two different upbringings. So we was trying to bring two different upbringings into the house. Yeah. And even with the kids, we didn't like the way.
Yeah, even that. With raising, parenting and raising the kids. Like
that's
I said,
we can do that. Millennial parenting.
Yeah, that's another good topic for us, because that's where, we started off so young, and we grew up together. We grew up together. We raised our.
We became parents at 20, 21.
Yeah, I was
Faith.
19. Yeah, I was 19.
I just turned 21 when Faith was born.
Yeah,
and we
had so it wasn't it's not, and this is one thing that I would like to tell your viewers or whoever's listening tonight is, I know that social media plays a big part in every relationship and every aspect, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a marriage, but don't always believe what you see and read. It
should be it's Facebook
not,
fronting.
Yeah,
face fronting.
It really isn't. Me and Chris, we are going on 10 years, and we will be celebrating 16 years in April of together.
We are 10 years. We're going on 11 this year.
Oh, yeah, we're going on 11 this year and celebrating 16 just togetherness in April, and it's a lot of work. But if you work at it, it does work. Yeah. And a lot of people, a lot of people, I feel like they don't think that marriage works, and they're so ready to give up. And I sometimes tend to think, those times where I'm just like, thought about giving up, what if I did give up? What if, I would miss out on this
journey,
my love story.
Yeah. I think millennial marriages, you got to know your role in the marriage. It is a team, and then you have to play as a team. We know the rules are slightly changed because of how this generation is with social media, with the cost of living. Right. We know back in the day, the man or the woman, whoever can, you basically can live off of one income. Mm-hmm. Now you can't do that, especially depending on where you live, that you really have to have both parents working.
Not in New Jersey.
You have to have both parents working, or, or somebody has to have like a really, really good job. And I think that's, another reason why, cause I have a entrepreneurship mind. I'm always on the grind. I got about 20 side hustles,
right?
Ways to make extra money on top of, the main stuff I do with comedy and plays and things like that. Mm-hmm. But you have to know your role. You know what I mean? You have to, like, in our relationship, I'm better with money.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
better.
I'm better. I'm better at money. I'm better with the budgeting. Far as planning and things like that, I make sure, the mortgage is paid, the gas, the lighting, I make sure them things is paid,
because I let you.
Yeah, that's because you be wanting to go shopping for Michael Kors and all that other stuff.
If I had to do it.
But, you know, and then like, you know, like you do the other stuff, you know what I mean?
Speak on it. What is the other?
You do like the food, like making sure we got stuff to eat, because a lot of times when they come to eat, and I'm just worried about me. Like, did I eat today? Like, and them kids got to eat every day. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, we have different roles and stuff, and you have to learn to accept it. Like, you can't try to do everything yourself.
It's like a well-oiled machine.
It is a well-oiled machine.
Before it was just like, you know, you can't have two captains. You can't have too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
You got to trust each other. Like, you got to trust.
Yeah, you got to
I
trust.
think, you know, now, you know, we've got a lot better at it. I think you're really trusting me as being the head of the household. Because
I mean, for us, I think I've expressed this to you. I'm a worrywart, and I feel like I passed that down to my daughter because she tends to worry a lot too. But for you, for all you have to do is tell me whether you lying or not.
I don't worry. Though.
All you have to do is say, everything's going to be okay, or I'm going to take care of it. And it's just like, with being together for so long, you've always taken care of everything. You've always, you know, I don't know how you do it sometimes, but, you know, at the end of the day, now it's just like, I'm not going to worry about it anymore, because Chris says he's going to take care of it. And
I do. And I know before I used to tell you, and you used to worry and worry.
Yeah.
Well, how you going to do it? And I'm like, don't worry about it. I got it. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. And this is like, come on. Like, all right. I said I'll take care of it. Leave me alone.
For the trust and communication and just relying on your partner.
Because I think you realize that I wouldn't do anything to put this family in jeopardy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would try my best to make sure,
Yeah.
you know, we had something to eat, we had enough for food, or we had enough to pay a bill, I would tell you, like, oh, can we do this? No, we got this bill coming up. We got to pay it. You know, we need the budget, blah, blah, blah. Cause we like the vacation. You know what I mean? So, and like last year, we had a great time. We did everything.
Wait for this summer.
We did everything we wanted to do. You know, and we still came home back with plenty of money, even though we spent money, souvenirs. We did everything. I finally jet skied. So, I mean, and I think I think even with that, you started to trust me with the budgeting
Finances.
plan. Yeah, the budgeting plan. Like, all right, well, I guess you really do know what he's talking about. So
that's that's great, because now you go into my next not topic, but my next question.
Okay.
I've been reading a lot about
question is
marriage being 80% business and 20% love. This is for millennial marriages. What?
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Because I honestly don't agree, but what do you think, babe?
No, I don't agree at all, because I don't think, and I think a lot of millennial marriages is taking it as that. I mean, we have friends that we heard express that too.
Yes.
I don't agree with that. You can't go into a marriage as business minded, like you going into a contract, because that's when things fall apart.
Right.
And it's like, and then because when you go into a contract, you know, I deal with contracts all the time. When you go into a contract, you're basically saying, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? And if you don't do that, then you're breaking, you're breaching contract. And you can't go into like that, because there's been plenty of times where I've been 20%, and so you had to be the 80%, or you was 1%, I had to be the 99%. You know what I mean?
It's whatever it takes.
Yeah, it's whatever it takes. It's not a contract. It's not a business. Right. Like, it should be 100% love.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, you can't, I'm not telling you to be no fool. You know what I mean? Like, your man just sitting on the couch playing video games all day, and you going out working and grinding for the family. He ain't doing nothing. No, that's not what I'm saying. Don't be nobody's fool. Trust me. Podcast. You know what I mean? Don't be nobody's fool. But if you're both into this relationship, because we know times get hard. Yeah. You fall on hard times. Like, we both, we both can testify that, you know, we've been fired or we've been laid off a job, and, you know, the other one had to basically, you know, try to take over. You know what I mean? Where, you know, where I worked and then tried to do comedy and all this stuff. And a lot of times if it wasn't for comedy, you know, we wouldn't have had, you know, we wouldn't be afloat. So it's whatever it takes. You know what I mean? And I think that's why I got a lot of side hustles now, because, I don't like being broke. So I do whatever I can to make a couple dollars. You know what I mean? So, God always provides. So what do you think?
I agree. Let me tell you, I just have some really good brother-in-laws because
You talk to your brother-in-laws a lot.
This one, I remember at my wedding, like I was the only one there. I remember at our wedding.
I was in there in spirit.
I remember at our wedding, and it was time for speeches, and my brother-in-law, who is literally like, he's my brother from another mother, Freddie.
Mm-hmm.
You remember Fred's speech?
Yeah, I remember.
You remember his speech? And all I could remember, like, and that's crazy that it's been so long. It's been 10 years, and I can still remember Fred's speech. 'Cause he said, you know, it's not 50-50. You know, sometimes it's 30-70. Sometimes it's 60-40.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it is 20-80. You know, when you're weak, I am strong, and vice versa. So I think to treat your marriage like a business, to me, when I think of business, I think of cold. I think of shifts. I think of obligations. Because not everybody wants to go to work every day. Do you know what I mean? And I just... To me, to compare something that's so loving and genuine and to a business or a job, I don't know. I don't agree with that. Maybe if it was worded differently. Maybe if it wasn't business, you know, 80% business, or maybe if it was 80% love and 20% business. You know what I mean? But I think the percentage is so big. Now, you know, this is just our opinion. You know, other couples, you know, this is, you know, and that's another thing.
Business
every
is
marriage,
a bad word to use in a marriage.
And every marriage is different. And I think that's another, going back to social media. Never, and this is something that I had to learn, and you can attest to this, never to compare your marriage to somebody else's marriage, because what works for one marriage may not work for your marriage.
We learned that the hard way.
Yeah, that's exactly, like, we had to learn that the hard way. It's funny, you know, Valentine's Day just passed, and everybody's, you know, talking about Valentine's Day, and I was just... we got to talking about engagements, and when we got and how people were proposed to and got engaged. And I will always tell Chris, you know, like, you never got on your knee to propose to me. Like, I want a redo.
I had bad knees that night. My knees was hurting.
But now when I think about our proposal and how it all went down, that is Brittni and Chris. Like, we are not untraditional. We don't do things by the book. we do things our way and what works for us. And to me, it's just memorable. You want me to share how you proposed to me? Okay, I won't share it.
Whatever.
Okay, I want to share because I'm trying to prove a point here. So,
all right, go ahead.
I know, you know, everybody has in their minds, you know, this fairy tale proposal, and make sure your nails are done and your family is there. And my proposal was the total opposite. I was vacuuming Cheerios off of the carpet because Faith had spilled Cheerios on the carpet. And Chris was sitting at the kitchen table. I don't know what he was doing. Probably writing checks for bills. and my mother-in-law had just come over to tell us that a family member was getting married. And when she left, I started vacuuming again, and then I hear Chris say, so when are we going to do it? And I shut the vacuum off, and I was like, do what? And he was like, when are we going to do it? And I said, do what? And he said, get married, do this. Like, when are we going to do this? So that, ladies and gentlemen, that's my proposal. Well,
I don't remember it like that.
How do you remember it?
I remember.
You did not get on a knee. Like I said, don't make me cuss.
It was a dark one.
You
the stars
are
were sparkling in the sky.
lying. Oh my God. And by the way, let me just tell
I asked
you.
you to come out to the balcony and
Let me just tell you, I was a mess. Like I probably had baby throw up on me. My hair was
I think that's sexy right there.
my
Like
hair-
if I
but my-
propose to you and you looking like that, I think
was
that's
looking
sexy.
a hot mess.
You should be like, oh, he loved me at my lowest moments.
Oh yeah, yep, you're right. You're right. I was definitely a hot mess that day. And but yeah, like just thinking about it, like I couldn't see another proposal. Like that is us. That is Brittni and that is Chris. Like, and I think anybody who knows and loves us knows that that's them.
I told you we can redo proposals in the restaurants and get a free meal, but you scared to try it. So.
I didn't say that. I just have to make sure my ring is off my finger when we do this.
I know. I'm like, give me your ring and I'm
all right.
propose to
So
you.
where are we going? Red Lobster this Friday? You and me?
Nah, we gotta go bigger. Let's go
someplace
go
where
Cheesecake Factory.
Can we
or
go
something.
someplace where nobody knows us? Because they're gonna be like, wait a minute, ain't y'all married? We can't go local.
People already think we're younger than. Remember we went to Puerto Rico?
Oh yes, that was fun.
We was 7 years in then, right? We was about 7 years in, and
Yeah.
from the time we got on the plane
Yeah.
to the hotel, everyone
People
thought we was newlyweds.
Yeah.
So we got
That
our
was
room.
fun.
We got our room upgraded.
That was really fun. We had an awesome
We ain't
time.
say nothing.
No.
So
And that
but
was
yeah.
really
So I guess we can kind of wrap this up a little bit.
Yeah, so basically, on Millennial Marriages, we really didn't get into a lot of the issues that we as millennials face. There is social media, there is lack of communication. I wanted to touch on technology, aka the cell phone.
We can do a part 2 later on, but
yeah.
I just want to
Thank you for having me on, husband.
Yes, wife. Thank you. But real quick, just give your final thoughts or how to help a millennial marriage. What advice would you give?
I mean, our show is open to all walks of life, all faiths. But I know
I like the way you say our show. You change your name to Chris.
But I really, I can only speak for me and what helped me, and I feel like, it was God.
Yeah.
God, and my faith, and just surrounding myself with awesome and amazing people, who were, like I said, who were for us. Yeah, because not everybody is for your happiness. And I think for me, I had to learn to protect my marriage and careful of who, I allowed in our bubble. So don't give up. Don't give up the faith. Don't give up working and working together. It's going to get hard, but if you truly love each other, then it is possible. It's possible.
That's right, and I concur. Just keep fighting for love. Remember what got y'all there.
Yeah. Don't forget.
Never stop learning each other.
Yeah, never stop growing.
As you're growing,
communicating.
you become new. You become a new, different person. You're not that same person.
I feel
that
like
you were when you first
we're
got
hitting
married.
on some great things, because that is a perfect. I am 30.
You're not. That's why you got to keep learning, because you can't keep treating. I can't keep treating 30-something-year-old Brittni
25
like
30-something-year-old
Brittni like
What's
she
wrong with
was the 18-year-old, 17-year-old Brittni that when I first met.
Yeah.
So as you grow, you become new. So just never stop learning. Keep loving on each other. So that's what we have. So, Millennial Marriage is what we're talking about. Thank you
Remember,
to my...
we are not experts at this. We just wanted to share.
Yes, we are. It's like, nah.
We just wanted to share a little bit insight into our marriage because we are millennials, and just let you know that we face
Millennial-ish.
I will be a millennial for the next 40 years. That we face the same issues that a lot of marriages face, and and we're rooting for you. We're rooting for you. We're rooting for love. That's one thing that we love. We love love. We love all love.
God is love. So
So all right, babe.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. This is the Chris Clark Show.
Our first podcast together.
And last. Sorry. Thank you guys for listening to the Chris Clark Show. Please follow me on social media at Chris Clark Comedy on Facebook and also on Instagram, Chris Clark Comedy, and also my website, chrisclarkcomedy.com. Book me for your next gig. Your next event.
And I can help with that.
Comedy, yeah. If you call me, you'll probably be talking to my wife. She'll probably be calling you back. She gotta make some more phone calls tomorrow. But thank you guys for tuning in. It's the Chris Clark Show. Peace.